Alright lads, so the 9th anniversary does officially start tomorrow, introducing two very cool characters, the strongest Quincy and also the strongest Sword, but that is the theme of this year's anniversary, a new Kache and also new Grammy. The banner itself will be available tomorrow, lasting all the way till the 31st of July. And for those that are curious, yes, we are going to be getting a part 2 to the anniversary. It's going to be more 1000G Blood characters. The difference, they're going to be limited. Kache and also Grammy are going to be premium. And that banner, for those that are waiting for that announcement, will be happening on the 26th of July. So while this banner is an easy must summon, I think it's definitely worth summoning on. If you are low on orbs and you want to see what's better, part 1 or part 2, well, you're only going to have to wait a week till the 26th of July. But with that said, the banner itself is introducing two very powerful characters, easily the two best characters in the entire game, and also some of the coolest characters in the game, given what they do offer with their new mechanics. So first up, Kache is going to be a speed Soripa captain with the Espada Killer Plus ability. One thing that is noteworthy with this character's affiliation and also attribute is the fact that he is a speed Soripa, so he does get the buffs from someone like Akon, one of the best supports for current speed Soripa characters. That does mean if you are using this character in Guild Quest content, having him paired with someone like Akon is going to make Kache hit ridiculously harder, which is insane as is given this character's damage output. In regards to his killer effect, his killer is going to be a new killer, or more so it's going to work a tad bit different, and in this case, Espada Killer is 40% more damage to Espada enemies, but Espada Killer Plus is going to be 60% more damage to Espada enemies. This is something that we're going to see going forward into the future. Other characters are eventually going to have Killer Plus. I think it's over a good idea, and it just makes the character even better when they do have Killer. The great thing about Kache though is that Killer is not going to be an issue. This character is going to be an absolute damage powerhouse, and that's to be expected with a character like Kache. For starters, this character has Frenzy plus 3, a 100% Berserker, which is already insane as is, having those two skills at the same time. But then alongside that, when you do inflict a status summon, and in this case he can apply both Weakening and Lacerate, my favorite combination in the entire game, he then does get an 80% SP boost. This already makes him one of the hardest hitting characters in the entire game, but it can get even higher, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Alongside that, though, we have some other great utility effects. Elevator and Lacerator, where every 5 seconds he has a chance to apply a status summon on any enemy in the field, giving a better chance to keep that SP boost active at all times. He has an increased status summon chance against the wrong cards. He has Poise, Weaken Defense, Poise Break. He has Havoc plus 20%. Essentially, he has almost every skill you want outside of the fact that he isn't immune to every status summon. But other than that, he's almost perfect. Very powerful character, and then he gets even stronger when you look at the character's strong attacks. His SA1 is going to be a lunge forward, his SA2 is a massive AoE around him, and then his SA3 is going to be the 2-stage charge strong attack, which is easily one of the best strong attack threes in the entire game. Whether you charge it or let it off early, it's always going to be performing like a normal strong attack 3, but if you fully charge it, well then you let off an even powerful attack that is able to do significantly more damage, and he's not going to have a problem letting off that strong attack 3 due to the fact that he does have Lacerate and even Poise Break. If you use this character in Limit Breaker, those poise enemies that would usually go through the attack are going to get knocked back. And maybe it's quite noteworthy, because he does have Lacerate, you can always give him damage to lacerated enemies as a bonus ability to make sure he even does more damage. One of the special things about these new anniversary characters, we're going to see that on both Kache and also Grammy though, is that they are introducing a new attack called an EX move. In this case, it's going to be an extra attack that has a 1-minute cooldown, but every EX move is going to be different, and in Kache's case, upon using it, it's going to give him an aura, it's going to do damage around him, which is capable of doing quite a bit of damage, mind you, and also for 10 seconds, give him a 100% spiritual pressure boost. Mind you, he already has 80%, so damage overall is something that in a way we've never seen before. Frenzy plus 3, a 100% Berserker, and a 180% SP boost, and then you combine that with the fact that he can apply a Weakening and Lacerate with the 2-stage charge strong attack. This is easily going to be one of the hardest hitting characters in the entire game, with no comparison. It's absolutely insane, and the fact that we have that on Shika Kache, it's our first Kache in 2 years, it makes up for the fact that we haven't had a Kache in 2 years, and he's easily living up to the title as the strongest Soripa. As for our second character, that being 9th anniversary Grammy, in his case, he's a Technique Quincy Sturmritter with the Hollow Killer Plus ability. And just like Kache for his killer effects, instead of being hollow damage plus 20%, it's now hollow damage plus 40%, which is overall a very strong upgrade. And when it comes to his damage output, very similar to Kache, it is quite overkill, I will be honest. In his case, he has Frenzy plus 3, a 50% Berserker, 20% more strong attack damage, alongside Recharge minus 12% as a soul trait, so he's the first technical character with dual soul traits on release. He then gives an extra 20% strong attack damage, in this case to every Quincy, upon inflicting a status event, which in his case he can apply both Drain and also Paralysis. He then does get an 80% spiritual pressure boost, and then with that, he also does do 30% more damage to enemies that are inflicted with status event, and once more, this is going to be a team party buff to any Quincy in the entire game. So just like Kache, damage output here is very, very high, and even though his increased chance to inflict status limit is against hollows, I don't think at any point is this character going to struggle to get an SP boost, especially when you do have a look at the character's strong attacks. One of the best parts about this character that is going to have him be one of the best Asian characters of all time is the team buffs for every Quincy in the entire game. As already mentioned with Kache, someone like Akon buffs Kache. It makes Kache an already amazing character even better in Guild Quest content. And in the case for Grammy, he's basically doing that, but for every Quincy. Every current Quincy and every future Quincy. Any Quincy that comes out into the game is already better thanks to this character's existence. So I can't stress enough how good this character is as a main DPS, as an overall good character, but also as a really good support character with, of course, those support abilities. But alongside that, he has some other great things about him. Weakened defense, complete status immunity, element reversal, bombardment plus 1. He has a lot going for him. In terms of the character's strong attacks, he also has a very good strong attack hit. His SA1 is going to be a beam forwards, pretty much the best strong attack 1 in the entire game. His SA2 is also going to be another beam forward, but it's that with the extra effect of having a homing vortex. So as I did mention, having a tracking vortex with Frenzy plus 3 almost ensures this character is always going to be having the SP boost active, even when he isn't up against hollows where he doesn't have an increased chance to inflict said status augments. And then his SA3 is going to be a full screen, but one of the best parts about this character is going to be his new EX move, where in this case, upon using it, he's going to boost the allies' attack, focus, and defense by 40%, and also debuff all the enemies' attack, focus, and defense by 40%. This is only going to last 15 seconds, but having both in one attack is actually very powerful, especially when you consider the character's attack itself has a crazy AoE to it, around a 1000 AoE in front of him, and also is going to have a very high damage output, as it does have around an 850% magnification. Unlike Kache's EX move, which is more of a buff to make the character's strong attacks hit harder, Grammy's EX move kind of serves as a boost and debuff, whereas Grammy's EX move is going to serve more so as an extra attack that is going to deal a ridiculous amount of damage, while at the same time boosting your ally stats and also debuffing the enemy stats. Like I said already, he's going to be an absolute massive powerhouse character, and I feel like this character is more special because he is a Technique character, and Technique as a whole has been needing a new character like this. But in my opinion, what I like most about this character is the fact that he's just going to be a really good support for every Quincy, and if I'm ever using a Quincy in Guild Quest content, Grammy is basically guaranteed to be right next to them. A lot of usability with this character, and that can be said for both anniversary characters. When it comes to the other 5-star characters, in this case, we have 10 more characters to talk about. We're going to briefly go through them very quickly. Fierce Battle Rukia is going to be a melee no attack damage character for the melee Espada Guild Quests. You can pair her with the new 9th anniversary Kache to make very quick work of both very hard and also nightmare guild quests. Wonderwise is going to be a very similar character to Rukia, a melee no attack damage character for the melee no affiliation guild quests. Like Rukia, they're usable outside of guild quests, but realistically you're only ever going to use them in guild quests, and that's fine. They excel in there, they have their usage. Ibar, I'll be honest, is quite mediocre. He had real potential to be a decent character, but due to the way the character's strong attacks do work, he's quite forgettable, more so just orbs if you don't own the character. Miruka is a very strong character, one of the best heart characters in the entire game. Very good strong attack hit, really good survivability thanks to her drain on every single attack, and she has an overall very good damage output with Frenzy plus 2, 80% SP boost, and more damage the more kills you do get. One of the noteworthy skills here being 20% more strong attack damage to your entire team. Fierce Battle Soifon might be one of the more controversial characters released this year. To some, she's one of the worst characters Caleb released this year. To others, she has some value. In her case, she's going to be best treated as a support character, kind of similar to Grammy, how he buffs all current Quincy's Soifon buffs all current Technique Soripers. By having her in your team, it allows your Technique Soripers to do more damage. She also has a very stationary kit that relies on inflicting status limits, more so paralysis, and has a very easy time doing so thanks to the fact that she does have a trap SA3 attack, and that makes her very useful in her respective Guild Quest week, although she isn't really a standout pick by any means. Christmas Nelliel is regarded as one of the better no-attack damage characters in the game, up there with 1000 Year Blood War Eisen, really good in Guild Quests, really good outside of Guild Quests, but of course does excel in the range Captain Guild Quest phase. Parasol Rookie is one of the better power characters in the entire game, really good strong attack hit, high damage output thanks to a Frenzy +2, 80% SP boost, and of course also the Rampage skill, still to this day the only power character with the Rampage skill as well. Halloween Toshiro, despite being a mid-buff, is actually very good. That of course excels in Guild Quests, in this case the Range Quincy Guild Quests, one of the more difficult ones where there's only like 2 good characters to use, him and also Machine Society Okiura. But if you don't have Okiura, this Toshiro is equally as good. Again, gets the benefits of using someone like Akon, who also has Killer. They can be used in the same week. I personally don't have him. I'm looking forward to pulling for him. He'll honestly make my account better, and I think the same can be said for everyone else. And then, of course, we also have the 8th anniversary characters. 8th anniversary Ichigo, still the auto god, still a really good character overall. Damage output isn't as good as, you know, the new Kache and Grammy, but he still holds up relatively well, and it's a super cool character in my opinion. And then 8th anniversary White, still an amazing character. Frenzy +2, 80% SP boost, insane damage on his soul bomb, really cool character. 8th anniversary character still held up relatively well, more so White, but in my opinion, with the 2 new characters, with this filler form, it makes it a very good banner. What makes the banner even better though, is of course the banner format, because no longer do we have the terrible 7-step format. What we have here is a normal Zenith summons, where we have a bunch of discounts. Step 1, 6, 11, 16, and 21, discounted at 150 orbs. Step 2, 7, 12, 17, and 22, discounted at 200 orbs. Every 5 steps, we get a guaranteed 5-star summon, which guarantees one of these 12 characters here. And then, of course, on step 25, you get the pity system. You get to pick either Grammy or Kache. So if you do decide to go all in on this banner, you are guaranteed the character you want. For those that want to go the extra mile though, you can go all the way upwards to step 50, which is going to cost you like 11,000 orbs. And in that case, you just repeat step 1 all the way to 25 again. A bunch more discounts, a bunch more guarantees, and another selector ticket. I do believe this banner is a must summon. I'm personally doing 25 steps myself, but I don't really recommend going past step 25. Instead of doing 26 to 50, you're better off spending those 5,000 orbs on part 2 of the anniversary. So yeah, in my opinion, overall very solid banner. Probably the best anniversary banner we have received to date. You know, outside of the character choice for the anniversary characters. Disregarding that, in terms of what the anniversary characters offer, in terms of the filler pool and the banner format, this is probably our best anniversary banner to date. So to me, as someone that already planned to go all in, this is the easiest 5,000 orbs that I'm spending on a banner to date. And I can do it while having fun, because I know in the end, I'm guaranteed to pick Kache or Grammy. I will be live when this banner does go up, so feel free to join us. And if you did make it to the end and you are wondering how you should be spending your orbs, again, if you are low, you might want to wait to see what part 2 is going to be. But how I always treat the anniversary is that whatever orb count I currently have, half of that goes into part 1 and the other half goes into part 2. That's how I usually handle my anniversary summons. I'm just fortunate enough in this case that I have enough to go to step 25 on this banner and also on part 2. If I didn't though, and let's say I had only 4,000 orbs, 2k would go into part 1, 2k would go into part 2. Either way, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your summon plan in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.